Da-da-da-da-dee. Welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. It's wonderful to have you along for the ride. What I have really enjoyed in the 24 hours since the Philadelphia Eagles improved to 9-2 and beat the Rams is the accolades that the Eagles' offensive line is getting. And they're getting the accolades from, of course, the country, but they're also getting the accolades from their running back, Saquon Barkley. And one of the things I absolutely have loved over the last 24 hours is all the footage that comes out after the game, the locker, aside from the normal, press conferences and people talking and whatever. But Saquon running off the field, Saquon, after he gets the record, 255 yards, going down the sideline, shaking hands with his offensive lineman, saying, we got the record. You got the record. Going up to Jeff Stoutland, you got the record. That this Philadelphia Eagles offensive line and Saquon Barkley together is the best combo in the National Football League. Now you might say, combo, you got 5 guys in the offensive line. It's a position group, and it's Saquon Barkley. This is a perfect combination. And this is, as I was saying immediately after the game on postgame, as I was saying on the show yesterday, this is the offensive line Saquon Barkley was meant to run behind. When you think about some great running backs over the years, you think, if you just get them an offensive line, just get them an offensive line. One of my best memories of just being a sports fan and just watching a team that had nothing to do with anything Philadelphia, but just appreciating sport, was watching Barry Sanders run for so many yards, become absolutely incredible, single-season records and all that stuff, and watching the Detroit Lions offensive line carry him off the field and celebrate those marks and those achievements that he had throughout his career, watching that. And I remember seeing that later in his career thinking, well, this is cool. Because he always gets the offensive line out there in Detroit always got thrown under the bus. If he just had an offensive line, Barry Sanders just had an offensive line. But the fact that he would still celebrate with those guys that everybody else throughout the country was ripping, he's being carried off the field by these guys and getting to celebrate those moments with that. And when I saw Saquon Barkley go down the sideline, shaking hands with his O-lineman, high-fiving him, embracing him, bro-hugging him with Jeff Stoutland right there, I thought this is hang it in the Louvre, as the kids say. It was beautiful. And I thought, how many running backs do you see go through a career that have so much talent but don't have a good offensive line? And here you're seeing one of the best running backs of his generation behind one of the best offensive lines consistently in NFL history. It's the perfect combination. And that's why you see Saquon Barkley go out there in 1,392 yards he's gained just on the ground so far this season. Now, 67 more yards than Derrick Henry after his performance last night on Monday night. But Saquon, with 1,392 yards, he's on pace to set the single-season record. And he is outgained on the ground 21 other NFL teams. It was one of those things where you're scrolling, and I'm like, that can't be right. Hold on. And then I go, and I'm like, oh, my God. I literally counted. I was like, okay, wait, top to bottom, bottom to top. Okay. It's absolutely bonkers, the season that he's having. And there is no better combination than watching Saquon Barkley run behind this Eagles offensive line in the NFL. It is absolutely insane what we are seeing this year, and you're going to continue to see it. Now, one of the interesting things about this game is this game against the Rams was that, and I know Collinsworth made a big deal of this coming out of the second half, especially right after the 70-yard run. I love that. This is what the Rams are trying to do to stop. Now, here's a defense that's trying to stop Saquon Barkley, and they don't. So he highlights coming out of the break that they're stacking the box more or less, coming out of the halftime. They're stacking the box. Now watch what happens here. They bring these guys down here. I think one of the guys he highlighted was Michael Hoyt, the linebacker. They're bringing him down to the line of scrimmage to try to stack the line as well. And Saquon gets the incredible block by Landon Dickerson that springs him free. Landon Dickerson puts a guy through the earth, and then you see Saquon Barkley be able to cut it through the offensive line to the outside and then take it to the house for the 70-yard touchdown. That was awesome. But one of the things they were trying to do was make sure they could bring that linebacker closer to the line of scrimmage. One of the things they were trying to do on the next big 72-yard run that happened with Saquon Barkley later in the fourth quarter was completely wiped out by Mekhi Becton pulling, and then also having Grant Calcaterra pull to the outside and make his block and seal off that edge, allowing Saquon to run inside that and spring him for 72 yards. So what was interesting was things were being highlighted and adjustments were attempted. Adjustments were made. If they don't work, are they still adjust? No, we made adjustments, but they didn't work. They made adjustments, and the Eagles were still able to counter it. And after the game, and I didn't hear it immediately after the game, but I went back and I watched more of it because I watched Brandon Graham. We'll talk about that. But Lane Johnson was talking about what the Rams were trying to do with Michael Hoyt, and it was to no avail. But the interesting thing is not just the idea that the Eagles get to celebrate the fact that they out-adjusted the Rams' adjustment, but the fact was this Eagles team is going to continue. The fact is this Eagles team is going to continue to face the opposition's adjustments throughout the season. And yeah, sometimes they're going to repeat themselves. Sometimes the teams are going to say, oh, this is what the Rams tried to do. We can do that, but we can do it better because we got better personnel, and they'll try the same thing, and then the Eagles can either wipe it away and push it aside and still have success, or the Eagles have to find a way to crack the code. And Lane Johnson just said it's just going to be an evolving process throughout this year. 6 games left of the season. It's going to be an evolving process throughout this year to see how this Eagles team is going to continue to counter other teams' adjustments. But it got a little technical there in the locker room, and I want you to hear from Lane Johnson a little bit later in the show, talking about how the Eagles just kept on adjusting to the adjustment. Also, Nick Sirianni's message to the team. This mantra, this story has come, this narrative has come out now. Like, are the Eagles too good? If the Eagles, look, they've won 7 in a row. They have been controlling games throughout this season now. 9-2. What more can I say? Enjoying everything that is Saquon Barkley, enjoying everything that is A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts and this O-line and what Vic Fangio's defense has been doing this year. And Quentin Mitchell's been incredible, and Cooper DeJean played all but 2 defensive snaps against this Rams team. Quentin Mitchell playing every snap. Cooper DeJean playing, I think it was 97% of the snap. Like, guys are just playing off. Jalen Carter's playing great as well. All this is going so great. All this, the linebackers been great. I saw Nakobe Dean talk about throwing a guy through the earth, going to get his sack. Good Lord. I think it was Kyron Williams. Whoa, that guy you had to peel him off the grass. And you see the Eagles playing as well as they are, on the same page, and how much fun they're having and celebrating with each other. And it's everyone for everyone, but it's still got to be over your shoulder. That you can either think about 2022 and how great everything was, and then still ending on that sour note, and Jalen Hurts keeping it as his lock screen, him walking off the field with confetti colored, with the same colors as the Kansas City Chiefs falling all around him, and the disappointment of that. That's got to be a keep it real moment. How about being 10-1 and then getting put over the knee of the San Francisco 49ers and then the historic collapse of last year? I would think if there's any team in the NFL that is not going to be feeling themselves a little too much after a 7-game winning streak, after improving to 9-2, I'm going to go ahead and assume that if there's any team that's not going to be if there's any team that's not going to be feeling themselves after a strong 7-game win streak, it's Philadelphia Eagles. And the message from Nick Sirianni, played it for you yesterday, and what he said to the media, I'll play for you what he said to the locker room, because the message is, guess what? Keep going, guys. Keep going. So let's hear from Nick Sirianni as well. Outside the realm of football, I'm trying to think if it was Mike Sealski's story I saw on the Inquirer. Maybe it was Keith Pompey. It was something along the lines of the Eagles did the Sixers the biggest favor possible. The Sixers played like crap on Sunday. Now, fortunately, on Sunday, there's this other sport going on called football, and everyone was watching that. But, oh my goodness, Sixers came out of the gates flat as hell, spanked in the first quarter, regrouped in the third quarter, or second quarter, then spanked again in the third quarter, and then they played okay in the fourth quarter. No Joel Embiid, shocker. Maxey, good but not great. Jared McCain, one of his, if not his worst shooting night in his NBA career. 2 for 11 from beyond the arc. Gonna need a little bit more than that. Talking about defensive adjustments, Nick Nurse said after the game that basically just shadowing Jared McCain and Tyrese Maxey and just preventing them from getting to the rim and making sure that they would just stay on the outside. And if Jared McCain was going to struggle that much from the outside, they were just going to, you keep taking that. You keep taking that. But Sixers got blown out by the Clippers. That was horrifically embarrassing. And then I got this only off of, I think it was NBC Sports Philadelphia, the postgame press conference with Tyrese Maxey talking about how he's trying to keep the spirits up of Joel Embiid. Because that's where we're at now. The only reason I'm going to play it for you guys is one thing I don't like are false narratives about contention. When one team is one player, could be at odds with another player. And I don't think that's happening. Like, I don't think there is any type of jealousy, anger, or animosity is probably the way to say it between Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. And of all the problems the Sixers are going to have this season, I don't want it to be the gossip column this year. So Tyrese Maxey continues to speak glowingly of Joel Embiid and champion the cause and the idea that Joel Embiid wants to play every game. He's just not able to play every game. So I'll let you hear from him. Also, Flyers. Come on, man. Now, well, by the way, speaking of the Flyers, I haven't been on the radio in a long time now, which is fine. I absolutely love what I'm doing. The digital world's been very good to me, and thank you, wonderful people, for that. But I'm going to be on WBCB Radio, also known as Merrill Reese's radio station, on tomorrow, as a matter of fact, for an hour with the great Bernie Perrant doing a Flyers show. And I can't wait to talk some pucks, baby. And Flyers blew a 3-0 lead last night. So I'm going to try not to jinx them. They got a point. They lost in a shootout, but they're up 3-0 early in the second period, and then they blew it. So I don't know. Maybe Bernie and I will talk about, with it being the biggest drinking night of the year, maybe Bernie and I will talk about some of the party days there with the Broad Street Bullies. But also talk about how Flyers are trending in the right direction. I've told you guys all year long when it comes to the Flyers, second half of the season players. Like the Eagles are second half of the game players. The Flyers are going to be second half of the season players, where they're going to give us something to cheer for. They're going to give us something good to watch in the second half of the season. They're already started to trend in that direction. So excited to talk some pucks with my man Bernie Perrant, but they lost last night in that shootout. Matvei Mishkov had another goal. That was nice to see. Yeah, but blowing a 3-0 lead. Even John Tortorella after the game was like, things are going in a better direction. I'm like, oh, look at him. Look at him being somewhat optimistic. How about that? So that's what we're going to get into today on the Farzy Show. Make sure you hit like and subscribe on the Farzy Show YouTube channel. Make sure you hit like and subscribe on the Jacob Media YouTube channel. Make sure you hit like and subscribe on the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel for all your Phillies and Sixers postcasts with yours truly. And then also our friends Jason Martinez and Harry Mays have you covered for your Eagles postcast as well. Also, catch me with Seth Joyner and Derek Gunn on the Seth Joyner Show YouTube channel, also for your pre- and post-game needs for your Philadelphia Eagles. So let's get into it. First and foremost, do the Eagles have any right? Do the Eagles have any right to feel themselves at this moment? Look, I believe in that. They call it the 24-hour rule. I don't even know if the Eagles are going to be concentrating on a 24-hour rule after beating the Rams. But 7 straight, they watch the Cowboys get pixie dust sprinkled upon them in order to beat the Washington Commanders somehow, despite a late surge in the game by the Washington Commanders. Missing a point after that would have tied the game after an incredible touchdown by Terry McLaurin. Still not enough to beat the Cowboys. And the Eagles put more distance between themselves and the Washington Commanders. But despite Saquon Barkley's success, despite A.J. Brown having another great game, despite another great game by this Philadelphia Eagles offensive line, despite the Eagles not turning the football over, despite this defense stepping up and rising to the occasion with their 2 young guys going out there and handling the business against Puka Nacua and Cooper DeJean, Puka got his numbers, no doubt. Puka got his numbers, limited to 20 points, 13 really that mattered. The Eagles did it. The Eagles did what they were supposed to do, and they held this offense that had been clicking pretty much ever since I got Puka back. They held him to 20 points, 13 that were somewhat meaningful. So they did what they were supposed to do. But with all that going well, Nick Sirianni's message to the team after the game is exactly what you want to hear.
Guys, that was unbelievable defense. That was unbelievable on offense. Franchise record for Saquon, 255 yards. 300 total. Now, hey, listen to me. Listen. I want to keep it at this. Everybody watched that game. And everyone's calling you and telling you how fucking good you are. We have not done shit. Put your head down and work. It's the work that's got us here. You guys have been playing your ass off, and it's the work that's got us here. All right, let's pray.
My favorite part of the all right. We keep working. We haven't done ish, and with the effing work that's got. Let us pray. I always love. I forget the comedian's name. He always opens for Sebastian Maniscalco. Does a great bit on that whole thing that just happened there. But anyway, that's the message, and that's the right message. That's the exact message you want from your head coach. And of all the things you can criticize Nick Sirianni for, and all the things we have certainly criticized Nick Sirianni for, one thing he has done well more often than not, is have his team focused. And focus is so important. After you get all the work out of the way, leading up to the game, how many times do we watch talented teams have zero focus and get blown out? I don't know what happened. We lost our focus tonight. We were focused tonight. We didn't keep the main thing, whatever. The focus is such an important part. And that's why when you talk about bulletin board material, people are, does it matter? Yeah, it freaking matters. Because throughout a season where you could get caught up in the mundane and go through the motions of so many different things, do you really want that extra added reason to have a little bit more focus on a game? Whether it's Nick Sirianni wearing a Beat Dallas t-shirt during practice, or it's any little bulletin board material that leaks out about how someone may or may not respect your team. If it's Micah Parsons saying, is it Jalen or is it the team? Well, either way, that team is in the Super Bowl. Bulletin board material matters. Pulling focus is everything, because after all the work is done, when it's kickoff, are you focused on the task at hand? And Nick Sirianni, more often than not, throughout his career, think about this: 10-1 seasons back to back. Now he's 9-2. The opportunity here against a Ravens team coming back on short rest after taking care of business against the Chargers last night, having to face this Ravens team on the road, never having to get on a plane again for the rest of the season. You just keep focus. Keep focus. You haven't done anything. In the last two seasons, no matter how you look at it, it's been a disappointment. You were up 10 points in the Super Bowl and you lost. You could talk about the James Bradbury holding call, defensive holding call. It's, yeah, you can talk about that and still get pissed off. You can also talk about being 10-1 and then blowing it at the end of last season. If there's any team in the NFL that is not going to be getting a little full of themselves, I think it's pretty safe to assume that that's the Philadelphia Eagles. And there's one more thing from Jalen Hurts that I absolutely loved what he had to say after the game, both in his post-game presser and with the Sunday Night Crew after the game. Momentum is fake. And I have always subscribed to that belief. There is no such thing as momentum. Yeah, you can talk about confidence, because you got to play the game with confidence. You can't play the game scared. That's when you make mistakes. That's when you get hurt. And Jalen Hurts talking about momentum. I mean, look at this Rams game. Look how it started. They're moving the ball downfield. Fumble. Eagles get the ball. They had all the momentum in the world. Eagles cause a fumble. Next thing you know, flip the momentum. The momentum, quote unquote. No, keep doing your job consistently. That's supposed to be momentum. But guess what? That can flip in a second with one fumble, with one interception, with one Saquon Barkley 70-yard touchdown run. Oh, then how about another 72-yard touchdown run? Just do that one. It can flip in a heartbeat, and I like the idea of a quarterback not thinking about riding momentum, literally calling it the fakest thing out there, because it could change instantly. And when he's talking about his turnovers or he's talking about touchdown passes, tush-push rushing touchdowns, scrambling to keep plays alive, breaking an 8-yard run, running a tush-push and getting 5 yards out of it somehow. He's talking about changing the momentum, what everyone else calls momentum. No, it's stringed together success. It's sustained success. It's playing well and playing with confidence. You want to talk about momentum? That can be taken away in a blink of an eye. And when he's referencing that, no, he's not just talking about his own numbers. He's not just talking about his own performance. He's talking about what the hell happened at the end of last year. And I in no way expect the Eagles to be dwelling on that in any negative way, but I think they're dwelling on it in the idea that that's got to be in the back of their heads because that's waiting for them. You want to talk about momentum? 10-1's pretty damn good momentum. And then what happened? It came crashing down. I found it very interesting that going into this game, it had already become a conversation point in the locker room and with the head coach about, well, how are you so sure that this team isn't going to do what they did last year? And it's like, well, that's the kind of thing about sports. It's like sometimes you just can't explain it. Think about the end of last year just for a second in this light. The Eagles still had Fletcher Cox in that locker room. They still had Jason Kelce in that locker room. And they still had a coach that over the last 2 seasons had started out 10-1 and done a wonderful job keeping his team focused. And then all hell broke loose. How does that is an anomaly. Like that's not the norm, right? That's definitely the exception and not the rule. That's not the standard. I would be shocked if that ever happened in the next, even decade. All right, while watching the Philadelphia Eagles. Forget about this year. Because this year, ultimately, and I've said this before, but this year, it's so much different. And yeah, in football, you always have to factor in injuries and, you hope that your team after Brandon Graham is unscathed and all that. But oh my goodness gracious, this team is just so much better than the team that we watched last year. But let's talk about defensively. Before we get to the obvious, Saquon Barkley. Let's talk about defensively. Your linebackers are playing at Pro Bowl levels. Let's talk about your cornerbacks. You're talking about all pro levels you're getting from guys like Cooper DeJean and Quentin Mitchell. This is ridiculous what you're getting from these guys. Jalen Carter in the middle of your defensive line and Jordan Davis. Jordan Davis is eating up some double teams. Jalen Carter is getting pressures left and right. Now it's going to be a matter of who's going to step up in place of the production of Brandon Graham, which, again, I did not expect to be complaining about going into this season. I thought, the hat tip farewell tour. And it's no, this guy is playing at an incredibly – and Sunday night, watching him play at that level and then out for the game and then finding out done for the season. Nolan Smith, Jalix Hunt, come get some. Eagles made an acquisition too. We'll get into that a little bit later. But watching this team, I do not get any vibes that are comparable to last year. And then again, the number one reason is Saquon Barkley. When in doubt, give him the football and let him run behind this offensive line because sooner or later it's going to break. And on that note, Lane Johnson addressing the media after the game was talking about linebacker Michael Hoyt. They're using him as a linebacker yesterday. He also plays defensive line. But they were talking about the way they were using him, especially in the second half, and how they've used him throughout the season. The Rams have used him throughout the season to try to stop the run. This is a great conversation Lane Johnson had. I think it's Jeff McClain at Inquirer.com asking the questions here about the adjustments the Rams were making to try to stop Saquon.
Anything to try and stop the run, excessively so.
I knew they were going to roam 97 around. They were trying to do half techniques to where, they're throwing off the combo blocks. So, as we progress and face more teams, we're going to see more stuff to, try to stop it. And, with the run game, sometimes it's not perfect early. It takes a little bit to get in the rhythm. But, once we started getting a hat on a hat, Saquon found some creases and yeah, man, he's just a dynamic running back.
So 97 was lined up over the middle on Saquon's first run. Did you guys know this was coming?
Yeah. I mean, they did that a lot in previous games. Started roaming him around. Usually plays outside linebacker. They put him inside and try to, slant
the opposing three. So basically trying to throw you off your combination blocks, mess up your points. And so coming in here, that's what we were expecting.
Well, they knew the adjustments that they were going to make, and they made them, and then they still beat them. Jeff Stoutland as the run game coordinator, Jeff Stoutland's offensive line, and Saquon Barkley running. These guys are going to have a ton of work in front of them when it comes to all the adjustments other teams are going to try to make to crack this code. And it's going to be to no avail, because what we're seeing this year is special. It is such a special tandem. If you want to see Saquon Barkley running behind this unit, I mean, yesterday I was comparing it to T.O. coming to Philadelphia, because that's the only comparison I can think of. Anything close that is of the same, I don't know, in the same neighborhood. When it comes to a game-changing player, Saquon and T.O., that's the two closest things. 6 more games. Would love to see. Imagine Jeff Stoutland. Obviously, imagine Saquon Barkley. But imagine Jeff Stoutland, as great as he has been and as great as we know he has been in Philadelphia, with just churning out offensive linemen and everyone next man up being ready to take over. I mean, even this year, we got Fred Johnson taking over for Jordan Mailata. Eagles really didn't miss a beat. Imagine he gets the feather in his cap of a single season rushing record. And I think they're going to do it. I don't see any signs of stopping. After what you have seen, don't see any signs of stopping. So I look forward to seeing how the Eagles are able to put this together for the rest of the year. And then you're watching a team like the Ravens try to break this down next week or this weekend. It's going to be a tall order. It's going to be a tall order, that's for sure. I mentioned Mitchell 100% of the snaps. Cooper DeJean's 97% of snaps. The blocking. Barkley. Yeah. All right, good. All right. Now it's time for not such a fun set. Oh, the player, Mike Garofalo of NFL Network is reporting that the Philadelphia Eagles are interested in KJ Henry. An edge rusher, was with the Cowboys earlier in the season and could be joining the Philadelphia Eagles as an attempt to fill in for Brandon Graham as another body, if you will. It was a 5th round pick back in last year's draft. So that's the way that one could look. But I think it's going to come on Nolan Smith, and I think it's going to come on Jalix Hunt as the season goes on. All right, not so fun, but I got to talk about it. The 76ers got absolutely demolished by James Harden and the Clippers. After the game, Nick Nurse was talking about what the Clippers were doing against the Sixers, and it wasn't great. It was basically just a great defensive game plan in the face of Jared McCain and Tyrese Maxey that took them well off their game, and these guys are still going to have to learn how to play with one another. And watching Jared McCain throughout his rookie season so far this year has been great. It's been awesome. But whenever you see guys just catching fire and shooting the lights out and getting over 30 points a couple of times and having a great run of 7 straight games on 8 straight games over, with 20 or more points, that's fantastic to see. But at some point, it's going to come a time where they're going to get ice cold. And 2 for 11 from beyond the arc is certainly ice cold by Jared McCain standards. He has 18 points against the Clippers. Tyrese Maxey has 17 points against Clippers. Tyrese Maxey was 5 of 13 from the floor. Jared McCain overall, not just 2 for 11 from beyond the arc, but 3 for 15 from the floor. 10 of his 18 points were coming from the foul line. It wasn't a great night, unfortunately, for the Sixers. And afterwards, Nick Nurse just talked about how they took Maxey and McCain out of it with good defense. Just bottom line, good defense. But the other thing that was interesting after the game was that Tyrese Maxey was addressed in the media. And look, as much as I love what you could get from these 2 young guards and what they could be production-wise down the line, if you're going to compete this year, regardless of how you feel about Joel Embiid right now, if you want any hope of winning in the postseason, Joel Embiid has to come back. Joel Embiid has to play well. Joel Embiid has to play consistently, and Joel Embiid has to play at the MVP caliber height. That's what has to happen here. And Paul George has to figure it out too. All that has to happen. If that doesn't happen, this is just going to be another rebuilding year. And I don't want it to be another rebuilding year. I want to see the Sixers have an opportunity to win. And although I can't really judge this team until after the All-Star, until after the new year. And hopefully you see Joel Embiid, I really want to stay away from using the word, ramp up, see him get into game shape. That's when you're really going to know. And I'm optimistic for some stupid reason. I think because I have no other choice. But I'm optimistic that there's a much better brand of basketball left in the 76ers team. And throughout the Phillies season, I know when they were going downhill, I believe that there was a better brand of baseball. They were able to get it together enough to maintain where they were in the division and at least still make the playoffs when some people just had them squeaking in on a wild card. But I got reason to believe that the Sixers team there's a much better brand of basketball in them. And that has to be in Joel Embiid. So Tyrese Maxey is, I think, aware of that because he doesn't want a wasted season. He doesn't want a rebuilding year. He doesn't want a gap year. So he's trying to keep the, quote, big fella's spirits high. Here is Tyrese Maxey, courtesy NBC Sports Philadelphia. Tyrese Maxey talking about conversations he has with Joel Embiid to keep his spirits up while he's not playing.
Yeah, I talk to Joel every day, multiple times a day. And it's like I just talked to him right after the game, and, he kept trying to keep his spirits high. It's hard. It's difficult, man. Like, that guy, he loves basketball. He wants to play basketball every single day. Like, if he could play all 82 games and every single game in the playoffs, I promise you he would. And that's just the type of guy he is. He's a competitor. He wants to win. And still, even now, he believes in his teammates. You know what I'm saying? He's talking about, like, man, whenever I get to play again, let's go out there and win. Have a lot of fun while doing it. Like, every single time that we, at least us two, that's a lot of new faces, but at least us two have played basketball together, we have a good time while doing it. You know what I'm saying? With the smiles on our face. We've got to get back to that. We got to get back to having fun, building confidence. We have to find ways to give each other confidence. But, it was great, man. He wants to be out there every single night. So we're just praying for him and hoping that he can, get through this.
All right. I know the first reaction for a lot of people is, ugh. But stay with me here. Ultimately, the only thing that matters is the Sixers win. Okay. You might be out on Joel Embiid. And I was having this conversation with a buddy of mine last night. Actually went to see Gladiator last night. Went to see Gladiator 2. I got my movie review coming up later in the show. And we're talking about his lifelong Sixers fan, big Sixers fan. And I was like, hey, so you're kind of out on the Sixers last time we talked. And how you feeling now? And he goes, oh, it's just like kind of over it. It's kind of over the whole thing. I think everyone has seen this movie time and time again, and they know how it ends. But they're like, maybe this time it's a little different. That the little glimmer of hope, right? I think every Sixers fan is at an interesting impasse here where they realize what Joel Embiid is. They're not sure whether or not he's cooked. But they know their only chance of this Sixers team doing anything of relevance this year is Joel Embiid gets back and he's healthy and he plays at the MVP level. The thing that's so wild to me is that he came back and played 35 minutes and scored 35 points in those 35 minutes and looked like Joel Embiid. Was he laboring? Sure. Did he look like he was in game shape? No. But despite those two things, comes out 35 points, 35 minutes, 11 rebounds. And then apparently the knee swells up and he can't play. So that's now horrifying. And I laid out for you guys before my awful, not conspiracy theory, but my concern is that Joel Embiid knows he's cooked. And maybe he's just tired of the rehab. Maybe he's just tired of, I play and then my knee hurts. I play and then my knee swells up and then I can't play. Is he an NFL player now? Is he a once-a-week player? Forget back-to-back. Can't play in back-to-backs. Can you play twice a week? Going for twice a week. Can we get twice a week? So you're seeing him go out there and then have to shut it down for a couple of games because of swelling in the knee. So what? How do you manage that other than he plays once a week, 5 times a month? How do you get around this? I'm really going to hope that the Sixers weren't as stupid Stay with me. I'm going to really hope that the Sixers weren't as stupid as to be like, oh, no, we're sure his knee's fine. Anyway, here's 3 years, $192 million. Let's keep you around for 5 more years. We only had you on the books for 2. Let's extend you already. But the conspiracy theory I had, the dark universe, was that Joel Embiid knew he was cooked, but wanted to experience a championship of some kind. And, hey, I can play with the best players in the world. I'm going to go play with Team USA. I'm going to go win a gold medal where I only have to play maybe 27 minutes against Serbia and then maybe 10, 11 minutes in the other games. And that's all I got to do. And I'll be a gold medalist. And I'll have won a championship of some kind. And my son can see a gold medal hanging in my trophy room. It's beautiful. Think about it. That's beautiful. That's wonderful. It sucks for us as Sixers fans. But if you're Joel Embiid, maybe that's the motivation. Let me at least get the gold medal. And then after that, all right, see if I have enough left in the tank to go out there and play it a little bit for the Sixers and hopefully win. I will say, though, if the Sixers gave Joel Embiid a contract extension and that knee is just completely toast, and we have seen by far the best days of Joel Embiid already, and he is nowhere near even a top 3 MVP candidate, and they gave him a 3-year contract extension on top of the 2 years he already had, and they linked him here for 5 more seasons. It's the dumbest. It's far beyond. It exceeds the stupidity of anything that was done in the process era. It exceeds the stupidity of Brian Colangelo saying to Danny Ainge, oh, yeah, no, you take Jason Tatum. I love Markelle Fultz. It exceeds that by a billion miles. If they handed a guy a contract extension with no knee, who's playing on one knee for the rest of his career, then that is the dumbest thing the Sixers franchise has ever done. And that's saying something. When you had the opportunity 2 years to be like, okay, let's just trade him and then get what you can. Then, it exceeds anything stupid of all the stupid things the Sixers did during the process. So there you go. All right. Before I get to the chat check, last night I watched a movie called Gladiator 2. No spoilers. I'm not going to give away anything other than Denzel's incredible. Pascal is incredible. Pedro Pascal is incredible. Like the whole cast. It was such a great movie with the acting and the performances draw you in, that whole thing. Now, because it's a sequel, people automatically compare it to the original. Let me just going to say this. Don't see it for its own individual movie. I thought there were enough hat tips to the original that did it justice. My overall review, and this is all I'm going to say because I don't want to give any spoilers away here. For me, it wasn't the type of movie where I needed to rush to the theater. I felt like I did because I was such a Gladiator 1 fan, original Gladiator fan. I've seen that movie a million times, one of my favorite all-time movies. After seeing Gladiator 2, I liked it. I didn't love it. My buddy and I, we had an agreement. Solid movie. Was not horrifically disappointing. It wasn't to throw your arms up in the air and be like, oh my God, such injustice to the original. Wasn't anything like that. Story was good. Acting was good. The scenes were great. And also, I love history. Oh my God, I love history. You know that trend that was going around about girls asking guys, hey, how often do you think about the Roman Empire? Like at least twice a day for me. But I love that stuff. For the people that are like, oh, it's not historically accurate, I'm like, you're looking for a documentary. And I think Ridley Scott even said the same thing. Yeah, this isn't a documentary. It's a movie. All right. So what are you even talking about? Here, let me break down like this. People that love movies and then talk to people that read the book, that's snooty. The people that read the book and say the book's always better, you know what's snooty to them? People that look at historical movies and go, that's not historically accurate. Then shut up. Nobody, it's not a documentary. Anyway, but it's a really good movie. It's a solid movie. I certainly recommend seeing it, but overall, I'm not going to tell you, you got to see it. You got to go to the theater and see it. Now, I will also say that potentially my experience was tainted a wee bit, because I don't know how this happened, but not only did we have people sitting next to us in the theater that wouldn't shut the hell up, but they wouldn't shut the hell up in French. That we found the only 3 people apparently fluent in the loudest 3 French people in the world were sitting next to us. And there were dudes. They were French dudes that I think were trying to impress these girls. And it was, oh my God, they had to be like high school, college age, you know? And I'm like, oh my God, am I the old guy at the theater that's like, shut up? And I'm like, no, everyone else is. So I went through the process of my first thing in these kinds of settings, not that they happen often, is I shoot a look. Like, hey, just to let them know you're louder than you think you are. And it's really annoying. And then right before I was about to like actually physically say something, I guess some woman sitting behind us, some lady, had even enough of it, more so than me, and walked in front. And to her credit, she was like, hey, you guys are being really loud. Would you mind being a little quieter, please? And maybe not talking at all during the movie. And to these French people's credit, they shut up. And then afterwards, because my buddy was sitting directly next to them, I was one removed, they're apparently crushing Monsters, like Monster energy drinks during the show. Who the hell's crushing a Monster while you're sitting down trying to relax, watch a movie? What the hell? Anyway, I was a little pissed off for like while it was going on for like 15, 20 minutes. And then I shot the look. And then the lady handled the business. I let the lady do the fighting for us. But after that, they shut up. I'm trying to get into the movie, and I got these people, and I'm like, I think that's French. I think they're speaking French. Not in the movie, but right here. But yeah, overall, I wouldn't. My advice would be, it's not a rush to the theater, have to see. But it was a solid movie, and I enjoyed it. And no, people saying it tainted the original. For me, that doesn't. It's like in the sports world, people are like, oh, it's sad to watch this athlete hang on and play. Really? This guy's doing what he loves to do. There's nothing sad about that. Nothing sad about that. Well, he used to be great. Now he's not. Well, that's called sports. All right. There's nothing sad about that to me. Hey, let me tell you about the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app to your phone, create an account, use promo code Farzy, and get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. Want to go to the game? Want to go to the concert? Want to go to the comedy show? Download the Game Time app. Take advantage of all they have to offer. Also, the Game Time app has a great feature called Game Time Picks. You know what that is? Game Time Picks allows you to filter out all the fluff. So you just don't have to filter through all the thousands of things, all the thousands of tickets. You just get right down to brass tacks. The best seats at the best prices with Game Time Picks. Then there's also the Game Time Guarantee. If you find tickets in the same section and same row for less money elsewhere, the Game Time app will refund your account 110% of the difference. That's the Game Time Guarantee. And one of my favorite things, especially for concerts and comedy shows, let's say you want to stay in the parking lot a little longer. A little tailgate, right? You might miss the opening act. You might miss the middle. But with this incredible feature on the Game Time app where you can buy tickets an hour after the event starts, you can save mega bucks and still see that headlining act that you so desperately wanted to see for a great discounted rate. So download the Game Time app, create an account, use promo code Farzy, and get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. What time is it? Game time. How about PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs? That's PHLSportsNation.com. Let's get into the chat check and see how you guys are doing on this fine Tuesday morning ahead of Thanksgiving. I have my in-laws coming today, and then they'll be here till Saturday morning. And then I got cousins coming into town. I got a cousin. Here's worldly. I got my cousin Christina lives over in London, right? And she's coming into town with her daughter, who's 4, lovely little one, Ruby, who has an English accent. I just find that hilarious that I have I now have a little baby cousin, that 4-year-old cousin that has an English accent. My daughter loves Peppa Pig. This is going to be interesting. It's the first time both of them are talking a little bit. They haven't seen each other in a year. Now Manuela's talking, obviously, but now Ruby's talking up a storm. Be interesting to see if she makes the connection. My daughter, that is. Sean Gillespie, what's going on? Good morning. Sean Killer. Oh, and safe travels to you guys. If you guys are traveling, safe travels to your family for the holiday and all that stuff. Be safe. Sean Coder, what's going on? Jim Harbaugh's loss on Monday Night Football. Nick Sirianni now has the highest winning percentage of any active head coach. He also now has the 5th highest winning percentage of any head coach in NFL history. Like the stuff with I didn't realize that with the Jim Harbaugh stuff, Sean. That's awesome. But as far as because I've seen it a bunch after every game, the media gets these emails from the Eagles about things that are accomplished, and it'll have like that winning percentage stat about Nick Sirianni, and I'm like, he's 4 years in here? Yeah, that's a little early. I don't like to say the NFL history. And hey, look, all the credit in the world to him and having this team focused as much as they've been focused over the last 7 games, and hopefully that keeps on keeping on against the Ravens, and then after that. But when it comes to the highest winning percentage, NFL history, all that stuff, that's kind of where I go, nah, I'm not going to go there just yet. Worth noting, but I'm not going to go there just yet. There's a couple of more things, actually. Okay. Over the last 30 years, only 5 coaches have opened 9 or 2 or better in 3 straight years. Nick Sirianni, Sean Payton, Bill Belichick, Tony Dungy, Mike Shanahan. Super Bowl, Super Bowls, Super Bowl, Super Bowls, Nick Sirianni. That's the list to me. Okay? But yeah, 9-2, that's good. That's great. That's amazing. Sirianni's franchise record, 60. There goes the phone. 694 career winning percentage, ranks 3rd among head coaches since 2021, behind Andy Reid and Sean McDermott. There we go. That's a little bit more. But Sean, no, you're right. I appreciate it. April, what's going on? Good morning, April. Jason, good morning. Sean, Saquon Barkley figuring out he gave away his historic touchdown ball to a fan. His face is priceless, realizing what he just did, Farzy. It reminded me of, in a different way, do you remember Nate Sudfeld when he threw his first touchdown pass against the Commanders or against Washington? And he gave it away? Or no, who was it? Somebody else gave it away. Yeah, it was somebody else gave it away. And Nate Sudfeld was like, this is my only ball. It's my first touchdown. And then he went up to the fan. And the fan was there with his dad. And they was like, okay, cool. And they gave it back to him. That was cool. Why Niners wine? We them Sixers. You're going to say that every time I'm somewhat optimistic about the Sixers. And I respect it. Keep that. Please keep that going. QB, what's going on? You got to keep me grounded. Why Niners wine? QB, what's going on? Devontae, the battle we're going to get on Sunday will be incredible and honestly fun to watch. I can't wait to see Saquon versus Derrick Henry. And here's one of the things I'm really interested in. More so Nakobe Dean than Zach Bond. One of the things Nakobe Dean's been knocked for, and I know he just trucked, I got to go back and look at it, but I'm pretty sure it was Kyron Williams. The physicality factor for Nakobe Dean. His form is going to have to be perfect in tackling, if you can even tackle Derrick Henry. But gang tackling is going to be a must. Him and Zach Bond are going to have to be all over that scene. This is going to be a huge challenge for this Eagles defense because, like the Eagles, the Ravens have someone that can kind of do what they want to do in Derrick Henry. And like the Eagles, you also have to stay disciplined with your assignments as defenses have to do, knowing that Jalen Hurts can break one too. There was one, there was more than one. There's a couple of plays where Jared Verse got hung up in the backfield with a zone read with Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley. And that's what I was dreaming about in the offseason after the Eagles signed Saquon Barkley, is obviously all the obvious things there with Saquon. But then after that, the next level to that is, imagine being an edge rusher. And we talked about this in the preseason, guys. Imagine being an edge rusher and you're basically let free around Lane Johnson, let's say. And you get off the edge and you get there and you have to stop and you're looking into the backfield. And there is Jalen Hurts with the ball in the belly of Saquon Barkley. And you have to make the decision. Actually, if it's that side, if it's Lane Johnson's side, it would be on this side. If you have to make the decision, what am I going to do at this point? Is Saquon taking that ball or is Jalen Hurts keeping that ball? You have to just stop, assess the situation, and attack. That assessing the situation, that split second, Saquon's already up the field 15 yards. Jalen Hurts is already around you on the outside. That is opening that lane wide for any running back. I mean, it's not, look, DeAndre Swift's a good running back. He had success with Jalen Hurts. Miles Sanders is a good running back. He had success with Jalen Hurts. Yes, is most of that to their skill, most of that to the offensive line? Sure. But having that third component to it with a quarterback that can also run, that's pretty damn good. That's pretty damn good. But yes, it is going to be Battle Sunday, Devontae. Thank you. Brian, what's going on? We definitely not stopping the Ravens offense. I haven't looked at the over-under yet for the Eagles for this game. I'm curious to see how much they got it going off here. Over-under 50.5. Okay, that's about right. Ravens minus 2.5. This is a dead even game, folks. Dead even. Ravens 2.5 at home. See if that changes if the Eagles get Devontae Smith back. In Danny we trust. Danny Briere, that is. Keeping it 100. What's going on? Philadelphia Eagles Crusade. Sean Gillespie, what's going on? Ravens will knock you into reality if the Eagles are feeling themselves too much. Hell yeah. And I honestly don't see that as being a problem. I remember, was it Doug's second year here in Philadelphia? I forget what year it was, but they were off to a great start. And people were talking about the Eagles getting too cocky at the bye week. He won't mind I'm telling this story. And I remember I was in South Philly and I was at Target. I was at Target in South Philly. And I remember the storyline was, the Eagles are going to get too cocky. The Eagles are going to get too cocky. The Eagles are going to get too cocky. And I just remember I was in Target and I was in one of the aisles and I heard from a distance this woman just chewing out this dude. And I felt so bad. Like anybody who's overhearing another relationship of any kind, hearing somebody get chewed out is uncomfortable, I think. And I'm hearing this woman chew out this guy. She's like, you need to get this, and you didn't get that, and then we need this, and you haven't gotten this yet. And I'm like, damn, I feel bad for this dude. And it's getting closer as I'm in the aisle. They're walking towards me. I can hear this woman's voice gravitating towards me. And I just turn just as I hear the voice getting close to my aisle, and I look down the aisle, and I see Brandon Brooks, former Eagles right guard Brandon Brooks, walk by me. And I'm like, what? And then behind him is, I assume, his mom walking by. And she's like, you didn't get this yet? You didn't get that yet? And I was like, I just burst out laughing. I didn't say anything. I didn't say hi to him. I didn't want to interrupt. I didn't really know him that much at the time. And I was like, oh, they're not going to get cocky. This team has no shot at getting cocky. If they're getting ridden by their moms like this, they're not getting cocky. Imagine what Doug Peterson is telling them right now. So hopefully, not only is Nick Sirianni bringing them back down to earth, but their moms are chewing them out too. Lions are going to collapse. I don't know. I keep waiting for it. They're a really good football team. I think the Eagles would have the edge. I think they're a better all-around team. But that's what everyone wants to jump to, is that game. Nick always mad. Woody Buzz, what's going on? Why not? Jason Kelsey on Rich Eisen yesterday is on YouTube. Good way to spend a half hour. All right, I'll check that out. By the way, I'm not suffering from this Kelsey fatigue that other people are talking about. I am thrilled. I saw Kylie's getting her own podcast now too. Good for them. They're a lovely family. I wish them nothing but love and wonderfulness. Brian Pupper, what's going on? We're not stopping the Ravens run offense. We better hope we can score with them. Yeah, I think it's going to be a high scoring affair. 30-23 Ravens win. Wine Niners wine. How dare you? T-Bro, what's going on? I'm ready to see some Jalix. I'm ready to see some Jalix Hunt. What's up, big Jalix? What's up, big pimpin' Hunt? Next man up. Yeah, the Ravens won last night. I'll get to that final. 30-23. What did Henry finish with? 140 yards. Good God, man. Good God, man. Oh, I had a bad beat last night in fantasy. I had J.K. Dobbins. I had J.K. Dobbins going against Will Dissly. And Dobbins went out in the first half. Really close game. Would have won. Would have won probably. But, whatever. Man called David. What's going on, David? Slay cannot play in this Ravens game. He is not trying to tackle nobody. Yeah, I agree. He looks lost. Philadelphia Eagles Crusade. Taron Jackson, I heard Ray Dininger on WIP yesterday talking about that. Hey, look, whoever steps up and fills that production, do it. I think the number one candidate to do it is Nolan Smith. If Taron Jackson can do it too, then have at it. This will be an opportunity for him, sure. Oh, April just Carolina to me. Bless your heart. Oh, Mark, your faith in the Sixers is so kind. Bless your heart. For those that don't speak Southern, that's not nice. But I love it. Thank you, April. Sean Gillespie's hilarious. Sean Gillespie, hello again. Faith in the Sixers definitely don't go together. Sean Gillespie, that scenario is very unlikely for us because the gold medal will be the only gold Embiid doesn't buy. He wants to say he won something. Billy Bob Joe. All three people at once? The Sixers are screwed for the next 5 years. They never should have signed the extension. When the failure is complete, all those responsible get to flee and not be here for the downfall, for the long downfall. Yeah. That's what you were saying, Brian. What's up, Super Dave's Subi and more? Hello. Slay would have got torched on those plays too. Dude needs to stay off the field and heal up and let 34 play and get used to playing. Isaiah Rodgers, yeah. Mac Main, thank you. Farzi and Nick Sirianni are twins. One's just bald. Thanks. Billy Bob, I've heard that comparison too. I did not think that. I thought the storylines in Gladiator 1 and 2 were different. Yes, were they similar? Yeah, there were similarities. But I say I don't want to give away anything more. I thought they were different enough. Put it that way. Hey, Coach Corey be hiking. Good morning. Watch out for the rock. All right. How you doing? You should have challenged them to a duel? What? DJ AK, Mr. Sandman, what's going on? My money is on the Italian Gladiator over the French Flamingo. I should have challenged them to I should have released lions in the movie theater. And now we duel while not being killed by lions. No, T-Bro, it's not my freaky cousin. All right. Wow, that story lives in infamy. Thank you. You should have said you're not entertained, Farzi. That's what you should have said. I was entertained, though. I wasn't entertained by the conversation points of the French people. Croissant. Jalen lost us that Super Bowl with that damn fumble. Yeah, not enough people. I know Jalen Hurts played great after that, and everyone talks about that, but you can't spot Patrick Mahomes 7 points. I think that fumble was huge. I heard everybody's favorite, Mike Lombardi, talking about that. Like, people do, Eagles fans want to concentrate on the fumble. I'm like, actually, to the contrary, nobody's talking about the fumble, and I wish more people were talking about the fumble in that Super Bowl. Ooh, what are we going to do if Saquon demands a new contract after one season? Let's cross that bridge when we come to it. I don't think he's gonna. Oh, yeah, he trucked Kyron. Yeah, Kyron Williams. Yeah. Karen Williams. Like it was one-on-one. Yeah, he put him in the dirt. Prayers up for BG. I want one more season. BG. Sean Gillespie, no, Mark's freaky cousin was not a dude. Mark's freaky cousin was a lady whose husband gave the worst best man speech in the history of humanity. For those that haven't heard that story, all you need to know is this dude shared the roster. Yeah, that roster of the groom. Not great. Thanks, everybody. Sam Amick said he definitely heard that Joel Embiid had a setback. He also heard that Joel Embiid was holding details from the Sixers. Oh, God. And then they're that stupid. Hey, I'll be back with you guys. Tomorrow's Wednesday. I'll be back with you guys tomorrow morning. Be back with you guys tomorrow night for Sixers postcast. So don't miss that. And then Thursday off. Friday, I'll do some semblance of a show Friday morning, and then I'll also do my Fox 29 hit Friday morning as well. But thanks for watching today. Thanks for listening. Make sure you like and subscribe on the Farzy Show YouTube channel. I'll be back with you guys. I almost called myself great. I was seeing something in the chat there. April saying to Tebow, great callback. Thanks for listening. Thanks for. All right, you want to say have a great day? I was trying to beat you to the punch. Say have a great day, everybody.
Have a good day, everybody.
Oh, have a great day, everybody.
Have a great day, everybody.
That's very nice. Can you say go Birds?
Go Birds.
Yes? Yes? Okay, yes. You want to tell people? Go ahead.
We have a pet lizard, but we're just babysitting them.
If you guys remember a couple of months ago, we have one of our relatives, well, my wife's cousin actually, is all the cousin talk today, has the bearded dragon lizard staying with us for this Thanksgiving while she goes back to see her family in Chicago. So we have a bearded dragon staying with us. All right, one more time, say hi. Have a great day, everybody.
Have a great day, everybody.
All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great day, everyone. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hit like and subscribe on the Farzy Show. See you guys tomorrow.